That's right, I like the ending of Oshinoko and believe it fits the manga quite nice. But I have no idea how anyone would read this manga and think it would have a happy conclusion. The introduction to our main characters, as well as I, clearly emphasizes how being in this industry and living as part of it is a terrible idea for yourself and how it is full of lies everywhere and anywhere you go. There is no one you can trust at all, and in this industry, if you want to succeed, you must be willing to sacrifice anything your way. The most obvious reason why I know the ending wouldn't be a happy one is the death of Ai right as the story unfolds and the introduction to the world happens for Oshinoko. People point to the characters having no real closure or why they would kill off Aqua after so much development, but if anything, that's supposed to make it even better. Having someone go through so much, knowing as a reader that he wants to live on, accomplish dreams, fall in love, makes it so much more meaningful when you see his death. So let's talk about Aqua's sacrifice and the knife. People complain that his death was unnecessary and useless, but what would have been a better way to catch someone like Kamiki? He wasn't someone dumb enough to let himself be recorded admitted to his crimes, let alone incriminated himself while those crimes were being committed. The movie did kill off his career, but it did not look like he would be prosecuted for anything at all. Ruby herself forgave him and decided to move on to fulfill her and Ai's dream of performing at the Dome and being the best idol that she could be. As a massive manipulator and perfect instigator, Kamiki would have most likely killed off Ruby just like he did with the rest. And I know you're gonna ask, does Nino confessing do anything about his crimes? Well, no, because again, instigating is not the same as intent or willfully committing the crime. Now let's talk about the way Aqua stabbed himself and the way he died, obviously. Most people immediately think of, oh, couldn't you be able to tell if someone stabbed themselves to frame someone else? And the answer to that is complicated, but a lot of people just want to say, yeah, that's 100% what would happen and disregard anything beyond it. But you forget that Aqua himself still has all his knowledge from being a medical doctor.
Call an ambulance! But not for me!
And that he would probably have knowledge as to how to fake an injury better than an average individual. Apart from that, he's also quite intelligent, and he was aiming to be a doctor in this life yet again. There is also a ton of information available on fingerprints and how they work and how it is harder to identify them in salt water, as well as how long they have been submerged during that time. We don't know how long it took them to find Aqua, since all we know is that they found his body 20 kilometers away. And think about it, how long would it take them to find this knife itself in an ocean? And apart from the knife itself, how much harder is it to believe that a teen up-and-coming actor would be willing to kill someone like Kamiki over Kamiki himself willing to kill a young actor, especially someone that was involved with him and that made his career plummet to the ground with the movie. After all that, I hope that you can comprehend where I'm coming from and no longer think of this ending as a terrible one. I do believe that dying for the sake of others is a heroic act in a way. You are protecting them from evil, especially from someone like Kamiki, and you are trusting them to be strong enough to continue with their lives after you are gone, which is what the rest of the end is. And in a way, I like that it shows it this way, because just like in real life, when you lose someone close, it is never the same. So the last thing to address is Ruby. A lot of people were also not happy with the handling of Ruby and called her a wasted character. But let me put it this way, if you had a dream and accomplished it, but you lost so much that mattered to you along the way, could you still be sincerely happy that you made it there? During the first half of the manga, she is just oblivious to what Aqua's doing and his plan, and she just wanted to be an idol and accomplish her dream and Ai's dream, right? But on the second half, she also wants to avenge her mother, as we saw her motives change when she understood what Aqua was trying to do. Forgiving Kamiki due to Ai's love for him, and then losing Aqua again since he was her doctor before, it almost affects you in some way. If the same industry that you work for took everything that made you happy, it wouldn't be the same, which is why she ends up just like Ai. Someone that loves what she does and it's her dream, but who is also aware of the terrible industry that she works in. I think her ending that way fits the story, and if anything, I am glad that they did not pursue the dumb Aqua x Ruby relationship at all. So moving on to the things that I actually liked about the manga. And the first great thing I liked, and if it wasn't clear already, is the setting for Oshinoko. Compared to the rest of things that you can watch and read every year, Oshinoko to me stood out from all of them. The idea of being able to see the darkest side of one of Japan's biggest industries, and it made for an interesting and unique world to be intrigued by. Even with some of the minor details like underground scouts that can just lie to potential talent to add them onto their group and how they can be exploited to the industry, everything was amazing to see. It also portrays how much competition there is for this kind of world, from endless hours of practice to being close to perfection, and how things can get ruined from someone that isn't good enough, such as Melt. It really felt like watching a show within a show, especially during the Tokyo Blade arc, And if you don't think this could have some truth, just look at Hollywood, for example. How many names get accused of certain crimes? Some examples that might not be Hollywood but are around there. We have Diddy, Harvey Weinstein, the Epstein list, and so many probably other examples you can find that have a dark background to them. Now, the next thing that I love, and probably everyone that watched the show loved, was the music in it. Just top tier, amazing, every single song they have. Even if you hate the manga and the anime, you cannot deny how perfect and amazing the music from the show was and how well it fit its own show. This goes for all the openings and endings, as well as the in-anime music. Idol literally set records, and you can probably still spam it without getting tired of it for a while. Poppin' 2 went viral the same day of the episode, and for good reason. It's hard for an anime to have so many different songs that can't just be #1 for the season, but Oshi no Ko made that look easy. And if you compare it to all the other random idol shows, I guarantee you will not find any song as good as these. Now, the next thing, obviously the character design, I think it's one of the best in any shows that you've probably seen in the last 5-6 years, and with good measure. In real life, most characters in this type of industry would be beautiful and handsome, and Mango nailed it. Every character has their own charm, and you cannot confuse them with the others. Kana has her purity, Akane is the cunning one, Ruby's charismatic, you get the point. I mean, the eye design itself will have you staring at them for the whole show, and it just doesn't get old. The last thing that had a small part in it, but I thought was depicted great, was the manga industry. Some mangakas are more talented than others, but that can be a burden in itself. We see the crazy sketches that they can have, especially if the manga is famous and serialized weekly, and how it can even get to someone just like Abiko sensei in the show. Not only did she want everything to be perfect the way she wanted and how it was in her mind, but she couldn't see her work be butchered or changed in dumber ways that she had predicted, like we saw with the play. After all, seeing your own work be made into a terrible adaptation would probably traumatize any author. There is probably more that I'm missing, but I want to talk about the few things that I did not like of the manga. And first, the reason I can never consider it a masterpiece is because of the revenge plot. I think there was so many other ways to elevate the plot, like a full-on drama within the industry, or even more hardcore things that come with a seinen manga. Themes like dealing with drugs, jealousy, or even crime could have created a crazier, more in-depth look at the industry than a revenge story. There was definitely some wasted potential here, and I'm sure there could have been some things added, especially with the reincarnation aspect and the crowd girl. But maybe it would have created too many issues within the story for it to function properly. I will say the revenge plot was average at best when it comes to telling a story. The other aspect that I wish was explored more was Kamiki and all his crimes. Sure, we do get a minor backstory of him being exploited within the industry into finding an eye and then descending into madness, causing him to turn out the way he is today. We never see how he instigated those crimes and how he led others to be killed, and this all happens just to basically say he is irredeemable and will always be this way. There could have been more exploration into his family, his upbringing, and more in between the years of him meeting Ai and before he got her to be killed. I'm sure there's more wasted potential there, but this is kind of a highlight for me. There was definitely a few more things that I've missed, but I think overall Oshi no Ko is a great manga that you can recommend to people. And now we're at the end. If you got to this point, I hope that I changed your mind about the Oshi no Ko ending and kind of make you feel that your time was not wasted reading all 166 chapters of it. If you still think that it was, just be a hater for life. But yeah, hope you liked the video, and I'll see you here next Friday.